Hello and welcome to our flipped instructional session on Unit 5, Lessons 1 and 2. We will go over writing our compare and contrast essay for Unit 5 over the ancient river valley civilizations. If you take a quick look at our lesson overview, Unit 5 is only 3 lessons long, but Lesson 3 is your choice. So if you take a look, Lesson 1, Think Before You Write, we are going to reflect and remember everything that we've learned so far on the 4 ancient river valley civilizations. And then Lesson 2 is putting that all together and writing. And so we're going to use some graphic organizers and we are going to organize our information before we actually write our essay. And in Unit 5, Lesson 2, this is a teacher grade assignment. Make sure that you follow all of these lessons step by step, and they will help you greatly in writing your essay. So for today's objective, simply, we are comparing and contrasting the early river civilizations. Obviously, we will do this in essay style. So we are going to start by opening up Lesson 1, Think Before You Write. So the first screen is going to be kind of an introduction to the unit. It's time to use what you have learned. Historians often compare and contrast new information with what they already know, and you're going to do the same thing. How are the early river valley civilizations alike, and how are they different? So think about that as we are reviewing, and then you're going to write an essay to express your thoughts. The good thing is that this is going to walk us through step by step how to organize our essay. This is the first screen of the actual lesson. And so we're going to go ahead and click on Lesson Resources and open up our student guide. And we'll refer to that when they are ready for us too. So you've trekked through time and visited the early civilizations that developed in Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China. It's time to take a quick look back and write about what you've learned to get ready to write an essay comparing and contrasting the early river valley civilizations. You will analyze the topics and brainstorm with the knowledge gained in previous lessons. All right, learn, remember, and reflect. Here is where it refers to our student guide. Download the student guide and the reading guide. Follow the instructions in the student guide to organize your thoughts and prepare for the compare and contrast essay. So I have the reading guide open as well. You can go ahead and open that up. That is a Word document. So if we go back to refer to our student guide, it says Activity 1, Remember and Reflect. Read the conclusion, a look back, and a leap forward, pages 141 to 147, and complete the reading guide as you read. So you are going to do that. You are going to open up your reading guide, and you are going to answer these questions as you read. So what do we mean by civilization? And what would you look for in a society to figure out if it was a civilization or not? Remember, there's 3 things that need to occur in order for it to be a civilization. What 4 regions did civilization emerge? What order? What supported the growth of civilization in all 4 regions? What is division of labor? How did it lead to the emergence of civilization? So that's your reading guide that you are going to fill out as you read those pages, and that was 141 to 147. After that, the river valley civilizations that developed in Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China shared some important characteristics, but they also differed in many ways. Sometimes the best way to understand a place is to compare and contrast it with other places. So when you compare places, you describe how they are alike. Now that's an important word that I want to point out right here. You describe how they are alike. So you don't just list the things that they're alike in, like they all, one thing that all of the river valley civilizations, they all emerged around rivers. So that is how they are alike, but then I need to describe it. So then I need to tell what rivers and how each of the civilizations, how it sprung up near a river. So that's one way that it's alike, and then I've described it if I tell what rivers and how, okay? So just remember that we aren't just listing those or one sentence. You need to describe with several sentences how that one aspect is alike. When you contrast places, you point out how they are different. So one thing that I can think of off the top of my head is they have different religions, okay, or different gods and goddesses and so forth. So I wouldn't just say that they're different because they have different gods and goddesses. I would then explain or describe how their religions are different. Mesopotamia believes this. The people in Egypt had pharaohs and believed in the afterlife. The people in the Indus Valley believe this, and China this. So I would contrast and not only just tell how they're different, but I'm going to describe that in detail, okay? So today you'll get ready to write an essay comparing and contrasting the ancient river valley civilizations that you've studied. To prepare, you're going to print the planning, a compare and contrast essay, and complete the 5 steps described on that sheet. Alright, so let's take a look at the planning a compare and contrast essay, and we are going to go over this in further detail in our follow-up session. And we'll go through some exercises to help you fill out this sheet. But step 1 is to read and analyze the assignment. So you're going to read the assignment and think, what am I actually doing here? So your essay is up here at the top. River Valley civilizations developed in Mesopotamia, Egypt, China, and the Indus River Valley. Write an essay comparing and contrasting them. We've talked a little bit about that, but what is the assignment asking you to do? Compare and contrast, explain, describe, agree or disagree with the statement, or prove something. So we'll talk about that a little bit further in our follow-up session, but then you're going to write a sentence explaining what the assignment is asking you to do. I will. And then what are you going to do out of these action words here? What are you going to do based on the assignment? All right, and then step 2, record what you know. So now you're going to look at the comparing cultures chart. You began this in Unit 3, Lesson 14. If you didn't complete that chart, you can do that now. Go back and fill in the other information on each of the civilizations. For example, did you include that it was easier to farm along the Nile River than in some other areas because it was easier to predict the Nile floods than the floods of the other rivers? And so you want to make sure that you have all of that information in your comparing cultures chart. We will review that comparing cultures chart as well. So bring some examples from that to class and we will share those. Then organize what you know. So now you know what your assignment is. You've reviewed your chart, filled in some more information, and then you're going to use that chart to help you write the essay. Your chart shows the characteristics of each civilization and should reveal the similarities and differences among the ancient river valley civilizations. So you might want to jot down notes in similarities and differences column. So I would make a column of similarities and of differences. Study the chart carefully, highlight the most important similarities in one color and the most significant differences in another color. That way you've got all the similarities listed and all the differences, and now you're going to pick which ones you're going to focus on in your essay. Look carefully for similarities and differences among the civilizations. And then step 4 is to write a thesis statement. We'll kind of do this in our follow-up session together. We'll talk about what a good thesis statement has. So now it's time to start working on that thesis statement. Go back and read the assignment and your sentence of understanding again, and that was your I will statement. So read this again, and then you're going to draft a thesis statement. Make sure that your thesis is 1 or 2 clear sentences. Really, 1 clear sentence is what you want it to be. And then use third person. Don't use the words I, we, or you. So don't say, I am going to tell you about. You're going to avoid those first person words. All right? All right, now we will jump into lesson 2. Remember to click on that lesson resources button to open up your student guide for this lesson. All right, and then we're going to write an essay comparing and contrasting the early civilizations that developed in Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China. So for this lesson, you have already done your chart comparing all of the 4 civilizations. And now it says follow the directions in the student guide to write your essay. So now we're going to open up that student guide, and it says the first activity, write about it, use what you know. In the last lesson, you organized your essay. Remember, we filled out that organizing the essay chart, and we had 5 different steps to follow. And so you're going to use that, and you're going to keep your outline and charts where you can see them easily and follow the steps on their writing a compare and contrast essay sheet to write your essay. And then you'll submit your essay to your teacher for a grade. So in lesson 1, you filled out the planning a compare and contrast essay. So you're going to use that outline that you planned, and you are going to use that to now write your compare and contrast essay. So again, you'll see here that we have 4 steps to writing your essay. And so now you've planned, the easy part is putting that all together. And so you're going to write your introduction. You've already created your thesis statement. Again, if you come to the follow-up, we'll go over this in some more detail. Then you're going to write the body of the essay. You want to make sure that you begin each paragraph with a topic sentence. You want to make sure that you have at least 2 different paragraphs, one comparing the ancient civilizations and one contrasting. So how are they similar, and then one how they were different. So you need at least 2 different bodies, paragraphs in your essay. And then you're going to have a conclusion, okay? And then this is just summing up. It's restating what you said and kind of re-emphasizing your thesis statement in some way, all right? And then step 4 is to revise and refine. Make sure that you go back and proofread. Make sure that you go back and proofread. So you're going to have your introduction, you're going to have comparing, you're going to have contrasting, and then you're going to have a conclusion. You want to correct any spelling, grammar, or punctuation mistakes that you see, and then you're going to submit that to me. So just a quick lesson wrap-up. Make sure that you complete lesson 1 at least, and that is the planning your compare and contrast essay. We'll work together in class to make sure you understand what all you need to include in your essay. We'll work on your thesis statement, and then you can come to class, we'll work on that, and then you can kind of revise and wrap up your essay. So I will see you soon, and I hope you have a great day. I will see you on the flip side. Look for a flip follow-up session in your Class Connect schedule. Attend that live session to carry this topic further into practice. You can attend help labs as well if you need additional help. And again, I'll see you soon.